Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we blend casual conversations with insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets. Okay, so Adobe Max 2025 just happened. Massive amount of news, right?
Absolutely overwhelming. But there's one huge theme cutting through it all.
Yeah.
It's basically, well, the beginning of the end for complicated user interfaces. Adobe's going all in on conversation.
So instead of learning a million menus and, keyboard shortcuts,
You just talk to it. Or type, really. Simple, natural language. That's the big bet.
turning these incredibly dense creative tools into something more like teammates.
Exactly. Teammates that handle the technical stuff. It's not just adding a few AI filters here and there. This is fundamental.
Right, if you've ever opened Photoshop and just felt completely lost.
Adobe's saying, don't worry about the buttons, just tell the AI what you want. It becomes your assistant.
And the promise for creators, I guess, is speed, accessibility.
Both. Speed, definitely.
Right.
But also making pro-level results possible for, well, almost anyone, regardless of skill level. It's woven everywhere now.
Okay, so where do we start? The AI assistants seem like the most obvious place.
Let's do it. The big one is the public beta for the AI assistant in Adobe Express.
Express, right. That used to be more for templates, quick social posts.
It still is, but now you can just toggle this assistant on and poof, the normal design panel literally disappears.
The whole thing.
Gone. Replaced by basically a chat window.
Wow. Okay, but does it actually work? Like, designers use specific terms, right? Kerning, hex codes, all that.
Yeah.
Can it handle vague stuff?
That's kind of the whole point. It thrives on vague. You don't need the jargon.
So I can just say, make this pop more? Or, I don't know, give it a jungle vibe.
Yep. Or something like, make this feel like a spooky high school movie poster. It translates that feeling into actual design choices.
Even multi-step things like make a retro poster for a science fair.
Exactly. One prompt, and it figures out the fonts, the colors, the layout. It handles the whole sequence.
Which leads us to that raccoon story from the demo. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, the vampire raccoon. It perfectly showed the power and, let's be honest, the slight unpredictability.
Remind me of the prompt again. It was super specific.
It was something like, change this raccoon to be wearing a vampire Halloween costume with fangs, holding a pumpkin, and remove his sunglasses.
And it did all that.
It nailed the costume, the fangs, the pumpkin, got rid of the sunglasses, but it also decided on its own to turn the photo into a cartoon.
Okay, so you're still collaborating with something that has its own ideas.
Pretty much. You guide it, but it's still an imaginative tool, and this idea isn't just staying in Express.
Right, it's coming to the big one, Photoshop.
Yeah, a similar chatbot-style assistant is launching in private beta for Photoshop on the web.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for pros. All those layers, masks, selections.
Think about years spent learning shortcuts, blending modes, adjustment layers.
So you're telling me I can just type, like, make the mountains in the background more saturated but keep her skin tone natural?
That's exactly what they're suggesting. You describe the outcome in plain English.
And the AI does the complex layer masking and adjustments automatically.
Yep. It builds the non-destructive layers for you. It really democratizes that high-level workflow.
Okay, so that's AI handling the fiddly bits within one app. But then there's this Project Moonlight thing.
Yeah.
That sounds bigger picture.
Oh, that's much bigger. Moonlight lives on the Firefly platform, and Adobe calls it a conductor of an orchestra.
A conductor. Okay, what's it conducting?
Your entire creative output, potentially. It integrates with your Creative Cloud libraries, learns your style, your brand voice.
So if I'm launching, say, a new coffee brand, and I want it to feel artisanal and rustic.
You tell Moonlight that. It looks at your fonts, your colors, maybe past projects you've saved, and it gets your vibe.
And then it helps create stuff. Images, videos.
Everything. Website images, TikToks, Instagram posts. The whole campaign, ensuring it all feels consistent. But here's the really strategic part.
The so what factor.
It connects to your social channels. It actually analyzes performance data.
Well, like analytics?
Exactly. You can give it a goal, like boost engagement with Gen Z, and it might come back and say, okay, your data shows blue tone posts at 4 p.m. Tuesdays work best. Here are 3 optimized posts ready to go.
Whoa, so it's not just an assistant anymore. It's like a data-driven creative director.
That's the idea. It's providing strategy, not just pixels. It's a huge shift.
Yeah, that really changes how you'd think about using AI. Okay, let's bring it back to the core tools. Photoshop itself got some key updates too, right? Especially generative fill.
Big time. The headline there is choice. You can now switch between 3 different AI models for generative fill.
3. Why 3?
You get Adobe's own Firefly model, obviously. But now you also get Google's Gemini 2.5 Flash.
Okay, Google's in the mix.
And one from Black Forest Labs called Flux.1 Context.
Why offer different models? Don't they all just make images?
Well, yes, but they have different strengths, different styles almost. One might be better for photorealism, another for really unique graphics.
So it gives the creator more control over the kind of result they get.
Exactly. It acknowledges that no single AI is perfect for every task. It keeps the human in the driver's seat, artistically speaking.
And Adobe upgraded their own model too, Firefly Image 5.
They did. The big spec bump is native 4-megapixel generation.
Native 4MP. Why is that a big deal for pros?
It solves a major headache. A lot of AI image tools generate smaller images, and then you have to upscale them.
Which can make them look blurry or weird.
Totally. Artifacts, quality loss. Generating natively at 4MP means it's high res right out of the gate. Ready for print, web, whatever. No extra step, no quality compromise.
Makes sense. And better humans, I heard.
Yeah, they specifically mention optimizing it for more realistic human rendering. Faces, skin, hair, that's always been a tricky area for AI, crucial for commercial work.
Okay, alongside the flashy generative stuff, they're also using AI for, well, the boring stuff, like sorting photos.
Yeah, the tedious but necessary stuff. Assisted culling in Lightroom.
I dread culling photos. Thousands from an event.
Right. This AI looks at everything, focus, sharpness, even weird angles, or if someone blinked and it scores your photos, it basically suggests the best ones.
So it doesn't delete anything, just ranks them.
Exactly. It drastically cuts down the time you spend just picking the keepers, which, let's be honest, can take hours.
Definitely. And the other times, think fixing shadows when you move things around in Photoshop.
Layered image editing, that's the fix. You move an object, maybe composite someone into a new background.
And the shadows just fix themselves.
The AI understands the lighting in the scene and automatically adjusts the shadows on and around the moved object. No more painstaking manual cloning or painting shadows back in.
Okay, those are genuinely useful workflow improvements. Let's shift gears, though. Audio. This feels like a huge area, especially with copyright issues.
It's massive, and Adobe's jumping in with two big tools, both in public beta on Firefly, Generate Soundtrack and Generate Speech.
Generate Soundtrack. Please tell me this solves the endless searching for decent stock music.
That's exactly the goal. You upload your video clip.
Just the clip.
Yeah. It analyzes the visuals, the pacing, the overall mood, and then it generates instrumental music specifically for that clip.
Wow. Custom music.
Custom synchronized music. And you can guide it with prompts, make it lo-fi, needs to be upbeat EDM, give me something sentimental.
Okay, that sounds amazing. But there are other AI music tools out there, right? Like Suno, Udio. Why use Adobe's?
This is the crucial part, the legal part. Commercial safety.
We mean.
Adobe was very, very clear. Their Firefly audio models were trained only on licensed music and voice content. They paid for the rights.
Unlike some others who might have just scraped the web.
Precisely. Which means the music and speech you generate with these Firefly tools
is safe to use commercially. Like on YouTube, in ads, wherever.
Exactly. Adobe is explicitly stating they are commercially safe. No worrying about copyright strikes or lawsuits down the road because the AI learned from protected material.
That is a huge advantage, a massive weight off creators' shoulders.
It really is. That legal peace of mind is probably the biggest selling point compared to competitors right now.
Okay, that's the music. What about Generate Speech? Voiceovers.
Same principle. Creates really realistic voiceovers from text. They have over 50 voices, 20+ languages.
And can you tweak it? Or is it just robotic?
No, you get fine control. Adjust the pitch, the emotion. You can even manually correct pronunciation for tricky words or brand names, way beyond basic text-to-speech.
So you've got AI helping with images, music, voiceovers, safely. Yeah. How does it all come together for video, folks?
Well, they're bringing these generative tools into one place. There's a new Firefly video editor coming.
A web-based editor.
Yeah, seems like a simpler multi-track editor designed to integrate all these AI features, soundtracks, voiceovers, maybe even generating titles or simple graphics. It's hitting private beta soon.
Making the whole process smoother, less jumping between apps.
That's the idea. And for the pros already deep in Premiere Pro.
Don't tell me they automated masking.
They did. AI Object Mask is in public beta.
No more rotoscoping frame by frame.
Pretty much. It automatically creates the masks for moving people or objects. Think about color grading just the background or adding effects behind someone walking.
That saves days of work sometimes. Incredible.
Yeah, it makes those high-end effects much more accessible. And they're also putting some Premiere Tools effects templates directly into YouTube and the Premiere mobile app for quick shorts editing.
Okay, so pulling this all together, The big takeaway feels like AI isn't just a button you click anymore.
Not at all. It's becoming this integrated, conversational, well, teammate, like you said earlier.
It handles the technical grunt work, the
Yeah.
culling, the shadows, the music, the masking.
Right. Freeing you, the human creator, to focus purely on the vision, the idea, the story. It's a hybrid approach. You're still in control, but the busy work gets automated.
But the conversation's moving fast, isn't it? We went from AI helping create things.
It's AI helping you strategize and manage your entire brand using actual performance data with Project Moonlight.
Which leads to a kind of mind-bending final thought, right?
Yeah, what happens next? What happens when your AI creative director knows your audience, your data, your style,
Yeah.
maybe even better than you do?
That's the challenge, isn't it? Balancing this incredible efficiency and strategic insight with your own creative intuition, that feels like the next frontier for creators.
Absolutely. It's going to be fascinating to watch.
Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed this episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.